Welcome to the Rise and Prime Show's Relationship 101, Part 1, Communication. Yes, we're going to talk about it. We're going to get into it because I think it's very important that we do. I think it was important to make it the first thing we cover in this Relationship 101 series. It's going to be a couple parts to this. Communication, guys, is like the foundation. It is literally the foundation of a relationship. Like, it literally is the source. Like 9 times out of 10, not even 9 times, 10 times out of 10, if you're having issues, if you're having tons of problems, right, and nothing is getting better, always trace it back to how you're communicating. Ask yourselves, are you really communicating well enough? Are you listening? Are you understanding each other? Are you seeking to compromise? Are we cutting each other off too much? Are we texting more of our feelings than we are expressing ourselves in person to each other? It's these kind of things that we have to be aware. It's very vital that we have to be aware of this stuff, of how we communicate. It's very vital. So the first segment is sweeping stuff under the rug. So it's here's the thing, right? A lot of us, right? Not me, okay? But a lot of us tend to hold back our feelings, hold back what we want to say sometimes. Okay? Little things. And these will just be like little things that, that bothers us for a little bit, but we just get past it or try to get through the day because, we don't want to have bad energy throughout the day. We think it's going to carry on energy. We don't want to go through that. We don't even want to start an argument. So when we start to think about those kind of things, right, when you're trying to just make the excuse of, oh, I just don't want to argue, that's a problem, right? And we do that a lot, right? You're into that mindset of like, oh, okay, well, I'm not going to say nothing about it, whatever. Like, I'm just not trying to argue. I'm not trying to hear it because, I don't want to get into the same thing we got into last Tuesday. I don't got time for it, whatever it is. I'm not even going to say nothing. That's a problem, because when you keep sweeping stuff under a rug, when you keep sweeping, the shit, okay, under your rug, when you keep doing that, after a while, the dirt and the shit is going to seep out from the rug and it's going to make a mess. It is. It's really going to make a mess in your relationship. Like, it's very vital that we seek balance, because the problem is, if you're not speaking to your partner about a certain issue, whatever it is, right, it's going to bottle up. And when it bottles up through time and you keep doing this and making this happen, out of nowhere, you're going to spaz and your partner is going to be lost of where is this energy even coming from. You don't want to do that. You want to keep your partner on the same page, the same bookmark. You should not be on page 130 and your partner's on 50. You shouldn't do it. You shouldn't do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, for the people who feel something about a certain day, right? You feel something about a way on Monday, right? On Monday, something bothered you. You didn't speak about it. And then you bring it up on Friday or Saturday. And then your partner's lost. Like, what are you talking about? What do you mean? When did you feel like this? No. Like, it's important to handle what you feel and speak up about it within a given time frame. And I would recommend the day. Like, okay, if you need a moment, you don't want to speak about it in the moment because you feel like you need to calm down a little bit and assess and reassess and observe and analyze the situation, that's fine. I encourage that. But not, I'm going to wait till tomorrow, or I'm going to wait till the next day. No, you handle it in the time frame of the day. Sweeping stuff under the rug is going to sabotage your relationship. It's only going to hurt it, like, even more. It's going to put it in the ground. And that's a habit. It's a very common habit with couples who have relationship issues. You have to speak up, right? And I don't know what you've been through in your life that you're like that. That you hold stuff back, that you've been through situations. It's important that regarding that trauma, right? Because trauma tends to mess up communication in relationships if it's not dealt with, right? If you haven't healed from your trauma, you're usually, people will spread out their traumas. You'll get to see their traumas, whether they spoke about it or not. And that's important. It's like, okay, You may not feel comfortable to speak about your trauma, but it's important to get across some point in time about it, because if you inform your partner about your trauma, you guys can sit down and listen to each other, and maybe they have a better understanding of why you are the way you are. This is a way for you to funnel information to each other so you guys can know how to do with it. If the person's never known what you've been through, doesn't know your origins, how the heck are they going to understand that? They're probably thinking like, why are they like this? Why are they like this? I need to know. I want to know more. It's important that you find the courage to go, listen, I've been through this and this is why I'm like this. I don't want to be like this. And how can we work together to get better? How can we do it? That's another thing. Trauma comes in the way, and it should not be an excuse. Okay. You should not keep using this as an excuse. You speak about your trauma. Okay. Maybe your partner can help you deal with it or heal with it. And if they can't, then you need to figure it out on your own, however you want to do it. I don't know if you want to see somebody. Honestly, I'm a firm believer we already know the answers within ourselves. We just cloud, sometimes we just cloud our judgment, cloud a lot of the things we already really know. And so that's just very important, to speak about that. And I get there's a time and place to speak about stuff, right? So it's not always going to be within the exact moment. But again, as I reiterate, time frame, do it later. Do it when you guys get home. Do it when you have the time and space. There's always time in the day. Okay? Like, I don't want to hear, we'll talk about it. No. We don't need to carry on problems and situations. Let's fix it, nip it in the butt, and then so we can move forward accordingly. That's it. Okay. So I hope that covered that. And I hope I really took, I hope I really gave you guys some nuggets. This is free therapy here. Okay? This is free. Okay, you don't have to pay. Or maybe you do. Maybe you should send me stuff through my Cash App. No, I'm good. You good. You Gucci. So our next segment, texting our feelings. Big problem. The big problem is about texting of our feelings, our long drawn out feelings, is that for one, it doesn't allow us to truly feel each other in a way you would do when you're in person. You're going to get more information from your partner if you speak about what you feel in person. It's very important to be understanding of this and aware of this. When you're texting, there's such a limitation going on, right? I don't care if you draw out the long paragraphs like people commonly like to do. The problem is that I don't care about emojis either. The problem is that you're not able to hear the cadences and the tones and the extra stuff that goes on when you speak about it, when you express your feelings. So you may be interpreting things in such a different way. There's so many ways to interpret a text. So many ways when you're looking at the text. I know that personally for even reading scripts. The text is cold. You have to bring life to it, right? And so the problem with that is that you're leaving your partner in some kind of limbo of trying to get deeper with this. It's not enough just to read exactly what's going on through text, okay? And I just think and firmly believe that texting should be used for things as such quick things like, yeah, we have conversations through text. That's fine. Like, I have no problem with that. I'm speaking more in terms of communicating your issues through text. Like, you are going to get more information out of your partner. You are going to know so much more about your partner if you speak in person, for instance, right? And I don't mean to get too dark, but let's see how much of an advantage you have in this situation. So say if your partner, right, if you've been hearing your partner is stepping out and you cheating on you, right? You heard for some people and you want to confront your partner about it. The biggest mistake you can make, right? The biggest mistake you can possibly make is texting your partner about that situation. That's the biggest mistake you can possibly make. Because here's the problem, right? Here's the thing. If you're texting them and asking them about what such and such said, whatever it is, are you going to be able to catch if they stumble or if they're, hesitating, or if their eyes do this or their nose flares up or whatever the heck, are signs that reading, that helps you read that if somebody's lying? Like, let's be real. They're going to be awarded more time to lie. Okay, they're going to be awarded more time to get, to come up with their convoluted diabolical plan to outmaneuver you, outshake you, and come up with a thing of like, no, such and such, then another thing happened, da 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 da. You have a better advantage of confronting that person, not even speaking about what happened, about that, catching them right off guard. Because look at the situation, right? Look at the situation, right? If you find out that your partner is may or may not be cheating on you, right? And you want answers. Why the hell would you want to text about it? Why? Because you're so antsy to get your, confront them and get answers from them. Why? Well, they're at work, so they can have more time to lie and utilize work as an excuse to not replying to you on time about a certain situation. No, you're going to get more information by sitting there and being around them. Giddy them up. Act like everything's all cool and great and fantastic. And the next thing you know, when they're comfortable playing their Call of Duty, and I'm speaking for the women to the men, men to the women, or men to the men, or women to the women, however, the gender relationships are, catch them when they're watching Netflix, playing Call of Duty, whatever the case may be, off guard. And the next thing you know, hit them with the such and such, I heard this or that. Guarantee you're going to get way more information. You're going to know a lot of more clarity. You're going to have a lot of more clarity for yourself, whether the fuck they're stepping out on you or not. That's just like, I want to say it's common sense, but I just think we tend to let our emotions get the best of us. So we tend to be reactionary. So it's just important, guys, to talk to our partners about things in person. For long distance relationships, FaceTime it up. I just want you to be able to see the facial expressions, feel the body, feel the energy, all that kind of stuff, guys. That's it. Okay. So next segment. Even when you're right at first, they're right too. So, guys, the goal for communication is, or should be, understanding, not agreeing, guys. This idealism that we have to agree with our partners is absolutely ludicrous. The fact that the ideal of that we have to agree with our partner every time, or more than times than less. Listen, here's the thing with that. Okay, here's the thing with that. All right. Seeking to understanding, let me rewind. Seeking to understand each other is the goal. That's what you should don as the goal for you to communicate, right? That should be the prime thing. It shouldn't have to be always agreeing, right? We don't have to agree with our partner every single time. You should just be seeking to understand and listening to them. That's all it is. That's all it is. And then you seek to come to an agreement or a compromise. Because the thing is this, like I read up online, it says there are 3 truths to every situation, right? Your truth, right? Your partner's truth, and the objective reality, of the situation. And it says you have to be willing to accept that your partner is having the experience that they're having, even if it's a wildly different experience than what you're having. Everybody sees the world differently. Everybody has a perspective. So when you're going out and trying to, come at each other's necks about how wrong each other are, no, you're both right in your own heads. The thing is, how do we make these rights, and how do we get these rights to a compromise? Because the thing about it is, too, it's very important that we can just consider how the other person feels. If you don't have empathy or consideration, and all you're trying to do is just shove your opinion and your thoughts and your ideals and your whatever it is, you're not going to go nowhere. You're not going to get anywhere, and you're going to keep going and shouting and getting your point across, whether you do it through text or in person. Like I said, do it through person. You're not going to get nowhere. Where are you going to getting your point out, right? And you just keep saying they're wrong. They're wrong. They're wrong. But both people do that. You're not going to get nowhere. You're not going to go anywhere. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to find somebody to agree with every single time, if that's your goal and mission, date yourself. Date yourself, right? Because that's the only way you're going to be able to achieve that. So if you're not in the ideal of dating yourself, then seek to agree to disagree. If you disagree, seek to compromise. It's more simple than we think. We have to stop condemning our partners just because they don't agree with us. Okay? Because both you guys are right at first. You guys are right. Both you guys are right in your own heads. So both you guys can't be wrong. And so if you don't come to an agreement, like if one person doesn't bait and goes, you know what, you're right, or the other person doesn't bait to the other and you know what, you're right, and you both say, you know what, I still disagree with you, that is okay. The point is, now we got to figure out how are we going to move forward with our opposing views. I don't have to feel a way about you. I don't have to hate you or argue you down or curse you out. I don't have to do that. You feel that way, I feel this way. We see the world differently, but I still love you. We got to put love first. We have to. If it's worth it. If your relationship is even worth it. And you'll figure out if it's worth it. If it's worth it, seek to do these things, guys. Seek to do them. And that is transitioning. This is going to be transitioning into my other segment, listening. It's so key. It's so vital, guys. You're just not going to agree most of the time. You're not going to do it. Okay? You have to seek to understand each other. When you're listening, you're going to be able to get more information if you're just trying to think about what you have to say and get your point across. Because that's what people tend to do, right? When relationships have issues and stuff like that, they tend to cut each other off. You're arguing, right? And you tend to just cut each other off, right? Because you're listening to a little bit and then whatever triggers you, right? Now you're gearing up and garnering a response for that trigger, and you're not willing to listen to the other part of the lengthy expression of their feelings, and that's a problem. If they can't give 100% of themselves, if they don't have an opportunity and platform to give 100% of what they felt at that moment, if they can't be able to tell you that, all right, then you're going to be at an imbalance. If you guys both can't come together and be 100 with each other, you're going to be partial. And what happens is if you're getting partial of what you feel, you guys are not going to be able to listen and understand each other as a whole. That's it. It's just important to sit down. I know that's tough for us, right? We got emotions firing and everything. We want to, something says and we want to cut somebody off. We have to just sit down and start transitioning our problems with each other and just sitting down and discussing and just listening to each other. Okay? Right? And I don't want to hear like, oh, I'll be forgetting what I had to say. Just write that shit down. It's just important and vital that we make an effort to just calm the situation to a point where, all right, you know what? You annoy me, and be real with it. You annoyed me. I felt this way. I did whatever it is, but you don't have to go, you annoy me. You were annoying as hell, or cursing at me or whatever. You don't have to do that because we tend to do that. The problem is we tend to funnel so much people, in relationship with those communication issues. This is people with bad communication issues. We tend to funnel our emotions, and we tend to we tend to put our emotions on frickin' 100, right? And the problem is that can get us so wrapped up and coiled in that we're actually attacking the person, right, for doing what they did and not seeking to understand why they did what they did. That's a better thing for you to do. Seek why they did what they did. And the only way you can seek the answers as to why they did what they did is to listen to them. That's the only way. Let them get their point across. You're going to get your point across too. But you don't need to condemn them because they felt that way. You don't need to add all this extra color, right? Just get how you felt. Let them say how they felt about the situation. You say how you felt about the situation. If you are disagreeing, just agree to disagree and find out again, how can we compromise and move forward together? It's a together thing. If you're not willing to compromise and seek to understand and have tremendous empathy for your partner, if you're not willing to do that, you should not be in a relationship. You shouldn't. It's no point. Date yourself. Date yourself. Like I said, see how that goes. Take yourself out. Marry yourself. All that kind of stuff.